The Islamic Center at New York University is pleased to present the following program. For more of our lectures, please visit us online at ICNYU.org.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness and testimony to the oneness of Allah, to His magnificence, His omnipotence, His might, His glory, to His being the creator and sustainer of all things, the giver of life, the guider of hearts, the Master of the Day of Judgment. And I bear witness to the fact that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His servant and final messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon all those who choose to tread in his path until the last day. It is said that the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was the epitome of trust upon Allah Azza wa Jal. That this man Abraham, from his adolescence to a point where he was an elderly man, every single opportunity arose in front of him to show that he put his reliance upon his Creator, the one and only who put him in the world and the one who would take him out. He demonstrated that he had that trust. That he looks to the sun and the stars and the moon to see if these are the ones that would give him that inspiration, that these are the ones that would give him that confidence, that support, that would carry him through his days. And when he finds shortcomings and flaws therein within each and every one of these creations of that one Creator that in fact he is looking for, he knows inside what in fact he needs. That they challenge him in ways that we can't even imagine. That Ibrahim alayhi salam, he is cast into the flames of a fire, but Allah Azza wa Jal will not allow His believing servant to be harmed in any way. And so He, in control of that flame that is His creation as well, commands for it to be cool so that it would not harm His believing servant. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he is cast therein, the angel comes to him, Ya Ibrahim, I am here to do your bidding, what would you have me do? And in response he says that, are you my Lord, are you my Creator? And when the response he gets is negative, he says, then I have no use for you. Would we expect him to respond in any other way? That when he is commanded now, when he is told to take his own son Ismail alayhi salam to the deserts with his wife Hajar alayhi salam, and they go therein, all the while asking him, Ibrahim, why are you doing this? What is the reason? And he goes without hesitation to carry forth on the command. Do we think he would respond any differently? That even to the extent that when he is commanded that, Ya Ibrahim, O Abraham, go and take the life of your son, go and take the life of your child, and without hesitation he responds in accord. Do we think that he would respond any differently? But the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he meets our expectations. We know that this man who is the epitome, the personification of reliance upon his Creator, he would act in that way. We are not alarmed, we are not surprised, we are not shocked that he carries forth his decisions and actions in this manner that are reflective of the fact that he has that trust in Allah. This is his personality, this is his character, this is who he is, and so too he responds when the decisions are carried forth in the manner in which he does. And we have to begin to ask ourselves, how do we understand our responses to certain situations? That when we are put into a certain predicament, when we are put into a certain scenario, when we are put into a place where we have to act, where we have to make a choice, what do we do? What are we more mechanically trained to do? What are we doing more so under our own volition, under our own will, under our own spirits? How are we in fact responding to the day-to-day monotony of our lives, also to the things that come out of nowhere? That we know this man, he has the ability to respond as only we would understand him to respond. So too the prophets have these characteristics that when they are put into a certain place or predicament, they respond in the way that we think they would be, only they would be able to respond. That when the Prophet ﷺ himself goes to Taif, and when he comes out from the city after being abused and used in ways we can't even imagine, and the angel comes to him, Ya Muhammad, what would you have me do? He responds with an air of mercy, he responds with an air of compassion that let them be. Perhaps the generations that come after will understand, and we expect nothing less from the Prophet ﷺ because he is sent to be a mercy to the worlds. But when we are assessing our own actions, when we are assessing our own decisions, when we are assessing our own lifestyle, the way that we carry forth our day-to-day activities, what is the critique that we give to ourselves? What is the expectation that we should have in terms of the way that we respond to certain situations, not only as Muslims, but as fact as human beings? And we have the blessing, we have the opportunity to really understand why we are the way we are in the coming weeks. That Allah Azza wa Jal in His infinite mercy gives to you and I again the opportunity, the blessing in this year to inshallah observe the month of Ramadan, and inshallah ta'ala all of us will have the opportunity to see that blessed month. But when we are therein, we are put into a frame of mind now where we have the ability to really understand who we are and why we do what we do. That the Prophet ﷺ has said that there is no shayateen, that there is no jinn, they have been chained, that they cannot give us that doubt, that waswasa. That we are moving away from ourselves now, the consumption of food, that the drinking of any liquids, we are not engaging in any physical intimacy or sexual activity when the sun is up in the air. We are not feeding our carnal self, our physical self. All we are doing now is getting to see who in fact we are, what in fact we are about. Everything and anything that we do under our own volition is shown to us. And at that point in time, we get to look with an air of criticism as to what we like about ourselves and what we don't like about ourselves. That the opportunity arises for us to now inculcate habits that we would be proud to say, look at what I do habitually, but also the opportunity comes in front of us to stop doing those things that we know we shouldn't be doing. More often than not, we regurgitate and reiterate this answer that when somebody poses to us a judgment or advice, we say to them that you don't know what my intentions are. Why are you questioning me? Why are you passing judgment? You don't know why I did what I did. But the question doesn't ever get posed, why did I do what I did? What was the reason behind me doing that thing that I actually did? What was the cause? What was the motivation? What was the compulsion that lended me towards losing my temper, that caused me to lie, that caused me to break a promise? What was that thing that allowed for me to not wake up when the Fajr prayer came into my ears? What was those things that caused me to undertake those habits that I do day in and day out, to the point now that they are purely instinctive and mechanical, that I don't even know that I'm doing it? That we are taught, that we understand that 11,000 signals are sent to our mind, and of those 11,000 signals, 40 are processed consciously. That the remainder of those are processed by our subconscious unconsciously, that we are just doing things because they just come naturally for us to do. And not naturally coming from a sense that it's natural that I do this and therefore it has an inherent understanding of goodness. It's natural because I have done it day in and day out, to the point that I don't even need to be whispered to that go and do this, Muslim. It just comes to me instinctively. And so now I get to understand who I am a little bit better. I get to understand why I do what I do a little bit better. And I get to take on those things that I don't really think I should be doing to my best of my ability. I assess my strengths, I assess my weaknesses when I try to understand why in fact this thing of fasting is something that can perhaps lend me to being someone who has a certain air of consciousness in his life, that I can have that thing of taqwa that is something that I should aspire to have within my life. It comes from the fact that I can actually